Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the BG Show. As always, I am Ben Green, otherwise known as BG, recording from South Florida. And I'm joined by my host, Thomas Depeche, recording from his hometown of Skaneateles, New York. Go Orange. We are here to talk about a few days after July 4th, the very American movie Top Gun Maverick, starring Tom Cruise and Miles Teller and John Hamm, kind of. We're very excited for this one. This will probably be one of our more laid back reviews. There's really not that much at stake here in terms of IP. Usually we're talking about Star Wars or Marvel or, sports or something that we're really invested in. But, today this will just be kind of a casual one. So yeah, let's just get right into it. What we thought about it. I like this movie a lot. I think everyone liked this movie a lot. It's hard to really describe how perfect of a summer blockbuster this movie was. It really was like your kind of perfect summer movie. It didn't offend anyone. It made a lot of money. It made everyone look good. It kind of was like a masculine movie without being accused of any misogyny, I guess, which is kind of hard to do in 2022. So I think this movie was a major W. I mean, Tom Cruise, he's had a weird career and we'll talk about it, but he's always been an A-list movie star, but I don't think he's been as big of an A-list movie star for our generation. The Mission Impossible movies make money, but he's never really in the discussion. He's not in like Netflix shows. He's not in any like HBO shows. No one is like at the water cooler talking about Tom Cruise. He's just kind of safely an A-list actor, and that's it. He's not very accessible. He's not like on Instagram, social media. He's not on podcasts. He's just kind of like in the ether. He just kind of exists. So yeah, that was a lot, but that's kind of like my overall thoughts, I guess. We'll get more into it. What did you think?
Yeah, I think he can get away with that kind of stuff because he's Tom Cruise, because he is a star. And I've never not thought of him as a movie star, as a complete A-list guy, I loved it. And it was an homage, like almost basically to Tom Cruise, like written and directed by Tom Cruise, starring Tom Cruise, and it was glorious. I loved how much they called back to the original. I loved you have to love the first one to really, really enjoy the second one, because there are so many callbacks, and the dialogue is really similar to the first one, which is like, there's nothing like it. It's just like, it's basically the origin of all cheese. And I love that they went back to it and they leaned into it as hard as they did, and they created a new story inside of that world as well. A story that could stand alone. And Tom Cruise was, as advertised, hit. He gave an amazing performance. It's like a changed Maverick, but like also like Maverick's never going to change, and I loved what they did with it. I love where they went with it. I would give it, I really liked it. Like, it's got a ceiling because it's Top Gun, but I'd probably give it an 8.5, 8.6 out of 10. I thought it was an excellent movie, and like you said, the perfect summer blockbuster. Yeah.
So I guess so. I didn't watch our generations. We're both 29. We were both born in 1993. We grew up like Top Gun just kind of already existed. I knew Top Gun. It's like, yeah, it was one of Tom Cruise's big movies. It's about, an airplane, fighter pilots, but I never saw it. Maybe other people saw it. I didn't watch it until like the quarantine in COVID. I decided to go through all these old movies and I watched it. And I'm not a Tom Cruise guy at all. So I thought it was really cheesy. I thought it was like there were cool scenes, and I'm sure it was cool for the time, but I was not a big fan. So this movie, I was expecting to not really like it as much as I did. I guess they just streamlined it more. I don't know. It was kind of more modernized, obviously, but I just thought it was way better.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, I guess we'll start with the first scene, just him trying to like break the speed record. They bring in Ed Harris, which is just like an automatic like +1. If you bring him in, if your movie's like a 7.5 and he's in the movie, now it's an 8.5. Like, he's one of my guys who's like, it's a full 1 point just because he's in the movie. National Treasure 2, it doesn't matter, just bring him in. So yeah, I mean, it was good. I think, where else do we start? I think one of the things I want to talk about is the enemy is the villain, which I thought was like the most interesting part. There was like an adversary where, and we'll get into spoilers, where there's a mission and basically they have to Miles Teller, Tom Cruise, and the rest of the people have to, kind of do this crazy mission where they go in a valley and they have to go around and they have to basically hit a time. And they keep practicing, they have to hit a specific time. If they're even a second late, they're going to die because there are security missiles which are going to hit them. They don't, but they never mention the name of the enemy. They don't say China, they don't say Russia, they don't even make up a fake name.
I think they should have gone China with
And
it, dude. I mean, they basically did.
Tom Cruise, we know how he's I guess smart, yeah, I guess cunning or whatever. That was definitely a decision from him. He's like, I am not having this movie compromised at all for some bullshit. We are not offending anyone. We are not naming shit. They're just the bad guy. And if
Yeah,
someone wants to grip on it, someone rips on it. But we are not naming this we're not doing anything to offend. And we're not even going to show the ethnicity or the race of the pilots. We don't know if the fighter pilots are white, black, Asian, women, aliens. We don't know who the fuck they are. We don't know if they're good guys or bad guys. We don't know why they're doing the mission even. We don't know what. So there's no way to
there were
possibly.
like 7 NATO treaties that were compromised.
Yeah, there's nothing to even really it's just weird because it's like, what if, and it doesn't really make sense because it's like he goes to John Hamm for permission. He has to beg him for permission to do this mission. And it's like, so if Tom Cruise didn't beg for permission, they wouldn't have done it. And they did do it. So we don't really know what's at stake here. It's their way of basically saying, we want you to focus on just the cool shit that's happening and not worry about it.
Yeah,
That's why it's the ultimate popcorn flick, because this ultimately could have turned into Mission Impossible at the end, where they're doing all these missions, and it didn't. It just was like, we just care with the flying and just enjoy the flying and don't worry about anything else.
yeah, yeah. Well, the movie, it wasn't about the enemy really. It was about Maverick,
Mm-hmm.
and he turned in a sparkling performance. It was, yeah, it was Tom's movie from start to finish for sure. And Tom Cruise hailing from the same kind of area where a lot of good-looking, charismatic potential movie stars, entertainment moguls hail from in upstate New York.
How did we not even mention this? He's
Yeah,
from Syracuse.
yeah,
So Tom Cruise was
yeah.
born in
Syracuse.
Syracuse, where we went to,
The
you're
movie.
from, where we both went to Syracuse.
Yeah,
Literally, I think if you said all right, you don't know where anyone's from Syracuse, you have to guess one person or if he's from there. He's probably the last person I'd guess ever. Literally.
what does that say about me? No, but the movies. So the movies. You know what? You could tell that it was personal for Tom Cruise, and to go back and play that character again, and to try and grow that character.
Well, he had an intro.
And
Did
I
you have an
felt it.
intro in your? Do you remember if you had an intro in your? He had that intro package where he's like, "Hey guys, enjoy the video."
Yeah.
He basically said I basically this took years off my life making this, so please don't
Oh
ruin it.
yeah. Well, dude, and it was worth every painstaking second of it for him, I think, because they spent so much time holding this movie before it came out just so people could see it in theaters. They spent 2 years just holding this
Oh
movie.
yeah, so this is I think one of the best production executive producer decisions ever. This movie was made 3-4 years ago and they held it they held it. And they could have released it, in March 20. They held it the entire pandemic. They didn't do some stupid, so many movies did some half and half. Oh, let's
Yeah.
release it, Black Widow. Nah, they waited.
Streaming. Yeah,
And
Tom
I
Cruise
remember
never
they
let
did
that
this
happen.
and everyone was bummed out, but they're like, we don't care. And it was very smart.
Yeah, it
Because I
was
remember
special.
Double O Seven came out a while before this.
Yeah,
But
yeah. But there were people who were going back to the theaters at that point as well, and I think that movie was a bit of a catalyst into getting people okay with going to the movies again. But then, yeah, it was the amount of hype that they put behind this movie. Some of the things that they did, they cut the trailer 3 different times. They had I work on a video editor's a TV show called The Challenge, and they did a Top Gun themed episode of The Challenge because it's owned by Paramount and that whole
mhm,
umbrella. And
yeah.
it was after that I actually watched the first movie. I hadn't seen the first movie, so I watched the first movie really recently. Loved it for what it was. You can't even think about what it was, and you just have to love it for what it was. And it just set the stage for like basically like South Park and all those all the way that those characters interact and the dialogue, it was just they did a really good job of almost mimicking the dialogue from the first one. And it wouldn't be good if it wasn't Top Gun and it wasn't intentionally trying to be cheesy. And then they did, and then they also found a good way of modernizing it. Like they modernized all the aerial sequences, and they did a really good job of bringing it kind of up into the 21st century. And I guess at that point we can kind of go into some more of the characters. I thought, yeah, I really loved what they did with Miles Teller. I thought he was okay. I thought he held his own for the most part. Like it's sometimes maybe the aggression wasn't there, or it just wasn't felt when he was like had like angry scenes or serious scenes. But when he had comedy scenes, he played to his strengths, and he was really good there. And then I think the Great Balls of Fire callback scene was really really good. I think that was really well done. You could tell that he put his heart and soul into the character too, and maybe you couldn't get the same result as someone like Tom Cruise, who literally lives the character. But I thought he was good enough. I thought he was fine. And then
Yeah.
yeah, I loved all the guest stars in the movie. John Hamm. Imagine them giving you the pitch. They're like, John Hamm, you get to be the guy that tells Maverick no.
Well, so these
He was
are
really good at it. He was really good at it.
these are so I'll start with Miles Teller. He's had a weird career because I feel like he's one movie away from being like the biggest movie star on the planet, and also one movie away at any time from his career being over. He's always like this his
Oh,
whole
dude, they
career.
take care of him there. They have him on a lot of stuff. They have him on a bunch of different shows.
So now he's like this is like the perfect role for him. If I was like someone who was his age and in Hollywood and I didn't get this role, I'd be so pissed at my agent. I'm like, why do I not, like if I was like Chris Pine, or if I was like someone else in that, I don't even know, someone who's like mid-30s, who's kind of like in that age range.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't even know, but it's just like it's such a good role, and it just sets you up to be a huge movie star now. And yeah, he was in the Fantastic Four movie, which was so bad, and it kind of railroaded him. And he was like in Project X, and he's had a weird career, and he's still pretty young. He was in War Dogs. He was in
Yeah.
Whiplash, right?
Yeah.
The boxing
The
movie.
Offer.
So,
They made a show on Paramount Plus called The Offer that he's
oh yeah,
also.
The Offer, which I still have to watch. Maybe we'll do that. But yeah, he's taken a lot of swings for someone who's under 40.
Yeah, for
But I
sure.
remember early
This is
on,
the
like
biggest one. Yeah, this is
he
the
was,
best.
I don't want to, I don't know who, I don't want to say he was compared to De Niro, but someone made that comparison just because like he's from, he's very from Northeast Philly, and
Yeah.
people are always looking for that. So he did a good job. Moving on to John Hamm. So I've been really critical of him. I haven't seen Mad Men,
You really have,
but
dude.
everyone talks about Mad Men, and I'm just like, I don't really know for a fact, but I have a feeling that his agent's done a really shitty job, because it's like, how does he come off Mad Men and really have what I think not a mediocre movie career for him for what he could have had, not like for an average actor. Like he was in The Town as kind of the FBI guy.
Yeah.
He was in that movie like Tag,
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver, and he was in this. That's really it in like 10 years. Pretty much no buzz for him to play, which I always thought he'd be like a good Bruce Wayne. How is there not even any buzz of him playing Batman, which is very strange to me. He just seems like a shoe-in. And he has the frame. You can get him in, like get him really big in the gym. So yeah, I'm glad to see him finally get a role like this. I know people are saying like, oh, it's a shitty role, like
Yeah.
what he's doing, but it's just good for him to be in a movie like this, to like reclaim his kind of like A-list status. Cause I feel like, I mean, it's good. Like I know Mad Men, a lot of people consider it like a top 10 show ever, potentially.
Yeah,
Or,
it's fantastic.
but I don't know, to walk around like you're an A-list star when you had like a really popular show 10 years ago was weird to me. Like,
I don't know. I think you're underselling him. But,
me? I don't know.
He did a good job. I think he did a really good job in this movie for the part. I think for the part, that's what every cast was almost perfect for the part. They did an incredible job casting this movie. Even Hangman, like down to the really minor characters. Like,
Well, he's supposed to be like a modern, so he's supposed to be like this is generation's Val Kilmer,
yeah,
Iceman. So they pretty much just made it
to
Hangman.
bring back Val for a scene like that. They actually hit every note just in a perfect way in that scene. Like they really treated it with care and gave it the respect and attention it deserved. And in the moment in the movie,
So
and
do you know?
really
Were you aware that Val Kilmer actually like can't speak in real life?
Yeah.
Because I went with someone who didn't know that. They thought that was just for the movie. And I was like, no, that's actually how he is in real life. So I don't know if that maybe just the person I went with wasn't aware. I don't know like what percentage of the audience knows that or not.
Yeah. And what a moment for him. What a moment for him to have that, and that must have been so cool to just like share that after
Mhm.
all that time to bring those guys back. Yeah, that was really powerful. And yeah, I liked I liked the way that they did it, and you always knew that they were gonna make it at the end, but
So,
nice. Yeah, so I guess I just wanted to say that I really, yeah, I thought that every decision that they made with it was a good one, even not to name the enemy. And especially the casting. I mean, Jennifer Connelly was so good. And she was just the perfect choice, and to kind of bring her story in because like they did mention her a couple of times in the first one, like very specifically. And
well, they didn't do a huge age gap because we were talking about Bond
yeah,
before. They had a huge age. There's a huge age gap between him and his love interest in that one. She's
yeah,
at least 20 years younger than him.
yeah. And
Um,
he still looks like Tom Cruise still looks like he's in his 40s, like the slow-mo scene on the beach that was obviously going to be included from the second he
uh,
put pen to paper was great, and it was just it was vintage Top Gun, and it was exactly what they were going for. And I think you can end it here. I don't think they will because now it's going to be a franchise. It's going to be a whole thing. I think that Miles Teller will get his own movie, and then who knows? Maybe even some of the ancillary crew, like the girl pilot who was always like the best one. I could see them just like doing little things with that and continuing Top Gun like as a franchise, which I don't know how I would feel about. But I think you could just end it right here, and it would be a master. It would be a masterpiece.
so,
You
do you
know.
think that Miles Teller can carry a Top Gun movie without Tom Cruise?
Now,
With just a crew without him?
Now, I think Cruz would have to be in the movie at some point. Maybe I don't know. I don't think that Cruz would ever do a movie like this again, where he's like the star. Like this one really felt like it was it. From the second he's strapped in and he's about to go Mach 10, and he goes
Mhm.
one last ride. It just had you hook, line, and sinker. But it really felt like this one was kind of the end for him, and like the photo of Goose and Rooster, like sitting on the desk, was really just the perfect way for him to. He literally rode off into the sunset in the last scene with the girl, and yeah, like only Tom Cruise could, But I think it's gonna be. I think it's over for him. And to answer your question, no, I don't think Miles Teller could do it. I don't think it would be nearly as good because he was fine. He was good for the character, but like he was no Tom Cruise in this movie, And I don't think he could. I don't think he could carry it on his own now. I think it could be really.
Is this your favorite Tom Cruise movie ever?
Oh boy,
And if not, what
I
is?
don't know. That's a really tough question. No, I don't think it is, but it's really close.
This
I
is, I
love,
think, for me.
yeah, I love the original Top Gun. I love, what is it, 12 Angry Men, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and
Jerry Maguire.
I love Minority Report. I could go on. Those are just some of the movies I thought of that this would be right around that level. It's up there for sure.
Yeah.
It really showed that Tom Cruise like is still like he's an A-list actor. He's
Oh,
still at the top of his game. It reminded me of like really like what Curry showed this year. Like yeah, he's getting up there, but he can still put up knockout performances. Like that like title, that mantle is his until he gives it away. He's like I
yeah.
can still carry a franchise. I can still bring people to the box office, and especially after COVID, like nobody had come to the movies like this, but they showed out for Tom Cruise, and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So what else?
what about you? Do you think there'll be some sort of spinoff, or do you think that people would still come with Miles Teller? I mean, maybe they would, but I just
I
don't
think
think.
it depends. I mean,
I like the
Miles Teller with the
director.
other two, with Glenn Powell and I forgot the other guy's name.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I would definitely see another movie because you still have the
yeah,
planes regardless of,
right.
but
And
the
if it was
question is like
directed
how
by this
many,
guy, like it would be really cool. And then maybe like Tom Cruise could come in like for like a few scenes, like get advice from him or something like that. And
yeah.
that would be a way to kind of like fully pass it on. But I don't think it would. Yeah, I don't think it would be as good without him at the
I think
center.
Miles Teller, what he should do next is definitely try to get into a Mission Impossible movie,
Yeah,
which would make sense. it's so funny because I was literally like, oh wow, Miles Teller would be a great Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four, the Human Torch. Which
Yeah,
is ironic because he
yeah, I
was in
like
the Fantastic Four as Mr. Fantastic. Um, but yeah, I think it's a kind of a generic thing to say, but I think at this point the next step is always try to get into the MCU. Because even if it's not your main thing, it just keeps you relevant. You keep getting paychecks and you're always in the
yeah,
conversation. That's
yeah. It's a
why
big
that's
deal.
what Benedict Cumberbatch does Doctor Strange, but then he's making like all of these Oscar stuff. Like he made Power of the Dog and
Yeah,
he keeps doing all this other stuff. It just keeps him relevant.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
um, but yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything else to say about it. It's just a really good movie.
Yeah,
It's not IP. There isn't really, there's no post credits. It doesn't lead to anything, which is really rare, which I'm saying, it's kind of like a throwback movie, but um,
they
I,
are getting sued for the story. That's a big kind of side story where the people. So Top Gun was inspired by a magazine article, and the descendants of the person who wrote the magazine article are suing Paramount, saying that Maverick, like they should be getting money, they should be getting paid for Maverick because it was also technically inspired by this magazine article, and
uh,
I don't know how it's gonna play out. Paramount's saying that it isn't, and that's something that's gonna be really fun to watch and see what happens. But little subplot. But
oh,
yeah, I liked it. Yeah, overall,
well, what's
yeah,
your grade at? So let's do out of 100. Let's keep that the standard. So I
okay,
guess convert it. So
yeah, I give it an 86 out of 100.
86 out of
Plus,
100.
you could do plus plus.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go. I'm gonna go a
maybe.
90 out of 100.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm gonna go a 90 out of 100. Really, really good movie, rewatchable. I
Oh
haven't seen it
yeah.
a second time, so we'll make a general rule. If you haven't seen a movie a second time, you're able to change your grade a little bit. We'll try not
Oh
to do it, but
yeah.
once you see it in the second time, your grade locks.
Yeah.
That's your grade. But
What would you give
so
Obi-Wan?
hmm?
What would you give Obi-Wan? I'm just curious.
I gave Obi-Wan, I think it was an 84.
Oh wow. That's
Uh,
that's probably even higher than I would have gone. Yeah. I'd give it like maybe a 78,
or
77.
maybe no, yeah, maybe like an 80. Maybe I'll give it an
Yeah, it
80.
felt average. Unfortunately average. Yeah.
An
When
80.
it was
But
great, it was great, but it wasn't great for a long enough time. But Top Gun was just like every 5 seconds, you're just like loving it. Like
yeah.
Top Gun was consistently great throughout. Like it can never get to like a 99, but it was consistently great throughout. And in some of the sequences and the editing and the sound design of the movie were just nothing short of amazing to take in a theater too. Like it was one where they made it like you really had to see it in a theater. And it worked, man. Yeah. The people went in droves. So loved it. Yeah. Hope there's more of it.
All right, everyone. Well, this was another review for Top Gun Maverick. Thanks for watching the BG show. As always, thanks for everyone that we know, our friends from Syracuse, from high school, from back home. As always, thank you to the haters. You know who you are. And yeah, we just did this. We just did Obi-Wan review. I did a Thor non-spoiler review for my car. So we have already 3 videos that'll be up shortly, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I was thinking we can do we'll do like a weekly show, maybe like as the movie industry. We'll cover the movie industry. So like Lady Gaga got, we'll do like, let's say 4 or 5 topics a week. So let's say like Lady Gaga got cast in a Joker 2. That'll be a topic.
Yeah. I like it.
Someone gets fired. That's a topic. A movie wraps filming. We'll just keep having topics. So on top of the movie reviews, we'll hopefully have like a weekly show. And yeah, everyone, thanks for watching. We'll be doing this a lot more in the future. We'll upgrade the cameras. So thanks for watching the BG show and peace out.
I just want to say, yeah, we'll salute. We'll go ahead and salute the troops, and yeah, love it. Signing off.
Peace.